More and more people are now paying to find love on dating apps. It's become sort of the norm way of finding people. And so as investors, this actually provides a pretty lucrative opportunity for us. And that's what I want to cover with a very interesting article that I found. But first, let me run the intro. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And so this was a very interesting article that I found on the Wall Street Journal. So you can see here, they put out an article where they effectively just asked you, how much would you pay to find love on an app? And the reason why they brought that question up is because notice in the writing below, they're saying that paid tiers of dating apps are now testing the limits with monthly memberships that cost more than Netflix and $75 digital bouquets. And so it's almost like these apps have kind of gone to the other end of being so monetized, whereas back in the day, they were just not monetized at all. And so there was probably more users using them on a daily basis than they are now because of the paid walls. And guys, don't forget, the company that I believe owns most of the market here is Match Group. You can see just how many brands they own. I would say Tinder, Match, Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, and Hinge probably amount to around 90% of the traffic that relates to people trying to find a date, at least. I would say Tinder and Hinge and Match.com are probably the most popular. Plenty of Fish and OkCupid are older sites, but they're also very popular. The only one that they don't own that's not on the list, of course, is Bumble, but I just don't think that Bumble is that competitive. And this article states exactly what I'm saying, where once upon a time, you could use these dating apps and use them for free and there wouldn't be an issue. But now the apps are trying to monetize and essentially offer you a better experience through premium subscriptions. And so here's an example. Hinge says that preferred members can go on twice the amount of dates for their paid subscription. And at least in my experience, that was something closer to like 15 times more. And the reason why is because Hinge will stop you with the number of likes. They limit you on the number of likes that you can have. And so if you're not limited with the number of profiles you can like, of course, you're just going to get in front of more people, and thus you'll increase the number of potential dates that you could go on. Now I was trying to get sort of like the updated pricing for them. I think they make it pretty simple. Like if they're going to charge $20 a month, now this might not be the most current pricing, but if they're going to charge $20 a month for unlimited likes, it kind of makes a lot of sense. So you can see as a user where, you know, if you find yourself in the dating market, you're probably just like, yeah, okay, $20, it's fine. I'll use it for a couple of months and then I'll get off the app. But, you know, as we know, the way that these apps work is they sort of like gamify dating. So it's almost like you meet good people, but then the app sort of works in a way where it's like, oh, who else can I meet? And so some people do get trapped in this sort of like perpetual loop of always being single because they're always trying to see what's better down the road. And so I think that kind of harms society a little bit, but I think as a dater, you sort of have to take that ownership on yourself to make sure that you don't fall in that cycle. Now you can see Tinder takes a different approach where they have multiple tiers. So you have Tinder Plus, which gives you unlimited likes. You have Tinder Gold, which gives you the ability to see who likes you. And then of course, Tinder Platinum, which allows you to message people before matching. I think Tinder Gold and Tinder Platinum are kind of useless. I think just having the unlimited likes is probably the best way to go. But I would say that Tinder in general as an app is not really where people are going for serious relationships. I would say that that's largely on Hinge and Match. And since, of course, Match Group owns this whole industry, you can see that revenue has kind of stagnated. There hasn't really been linear growth. When you go back to around 2012, you can see that they had around $2.8 to $3 billion of revenue. And recently, as of 2021, they had around $3 billion of revenue. And so the question is, will this grow into the future? And I might be a little bit more optimistic when I forecast out the growth. I'm saying that the Americas and Europe will grow at a rate of 7.5%, and then the Asia Pacific region will grow at around 12.5%. And they'll maintain gross profit margins, which are a little bit lower than what they previously have had, around 70%. But I might be a little bit too pessimistic here. And so for this name, I would want sort of a larger margin of safety if I'm going to price in growth. Otherwise, I'll price in much slower growth. In fact, I'd probably just price it sort of flat. And so that would give me an entirely different valuation. But just based on this, I'm interested to see what the valuation is. And I'm actually going to show you that next. And so you can see just using a 20 times multiple, which might actually be a little bit high, I'm valuing them at approximately $72-$73 per share. And based on their current share price around $51 per share, the share price as a percentage of their intrinsic value is around 70%. But I think I would be more excited to buy this name closer to, I don't know, maybe 30, maybe 25 bucks a share. So a long way down before I'll be interested in this name. And the reason for which is because I don't necessarily trust the last 3 years to forecast out growth. I did use a rate that's a little bit lower than what they have been doing in the last 3 years, but I'm just not confident in forecasting out so much growth. And so we'll see how this sort of plays out. But like Benjamin Graham always says, there is a certain price that you're willing to buy every company at. And I'd be very excited to look at Match Group if the shares ever do come to under 30 bucks a share, even like $25 a share would be very exciting. I don't know if it happens, but crazier things have happened. And the craziest thing, of course, is the fact that Alibaba dropped from the 300s down to under $100 per share. And I actually recently did put out a video on Alibaba that you guys did find very interesting. However, if you did miss that video, you can get to it right here.